Let's start with Britain. I invite every British person who was mauling about my takes on the Labour Party to suck my cock because I was objectively correct on everything that I said about them. Now let's get into it. Uh, so I made a segment about the Labour Party in which I said that the electoral victory that they enjoyed. What did I just join in on? Me gloating about how I was right about the Labour Party and Brits are fucking stupid. Um, at least a lot of Brits. I made a video a while back about how the Labour Party victory in Britain was a hollow victory because they were not meaningfully different than the Tories. They had been reneging on every single left wing element of their platform to such an extent that, like I said, same parties. And all indications were that once they got elected, they would be doing the same thing that the Tories did, which is furthering the austerity politics, destroying the NHS, and putting Britain even further in the hole. Britain already is barely as wealthy as Mississippi, the poorest state in the US, when you include London, the wealthiest region. Without that, they're just a third world country. And more than that, they did a centrist electoral strategy, which was dead on arrival when it was first tried 30 years ago, and continues to be unpopular today. In fact, they lost votes between 2015, 17, or not 15, 17, 17 and 19, or maybe 15 and 19. The past two elections where Corbyn was in charge of the party saw more votes as a matter of vote total going to the Labour Party than now. And even though the percentage remained relatively consistent, they did not get any meaningful gain in percentage. They were carried by the fact that the Reform Party drew a significant amount of people from the Conservatives. And the interest in the UK election this time around was significantly lower than last time when the Labour Party actually had left-wing leadership in the form of Corbyn and some people surrounding him. Because Labour went through the trouble of ousting every single person that even resembled left-leaning, right? That's just leading up to the election. There's been stuff happening since the election that has further proven me correct on that. Again, British people who doubted me, you can suck my cock. Let's go to Stats for Lefties. That they are one of the biggest British accounts that I follow that cover politics. Breaking. This is from yesterday, July 23rd. The Labour Party is threatening to withdraw the party whip from any MP who votes to scrap the two-child benefit cap. So one of the big problems of austerity politics in Britain is the issue of child poverty. Part of that being a child benefits cap, where basically, if you have more than two kids, or even if you have two kids, there's a certain cap to the benefits that you can receive from the state. And that cap has actually put a lot of kids in poverty over in Britain. It's kind of like the Social Security tax cap, except worse. And the Labour Party leadership under Keir Starmer, the kid starver, aptly named, decided that they were going to oust any MPs from the Labour Party that voted to eliminate that cap, to allow more funding to go to subsidize poor families with kids. So the vote happened, and then this next tweet up. Breaking: after voting to scrap the two-child benefit cap, Labour has suspended the following MPs, and they list 7 names. This also exactly corresponds to the vote total regarding the child benefit cap. Every Labour MP except for 7 voted to keep the cap. The 7 people who voted to scrap the child benefits cap and thus lift poor families out of poverty, potentially, were ousted from the party. Yeah, only 7 Labour MPs out of 411 voted to scrap the two-child benefit cap. 360 MPs voted to keep it. And then I guess the rest were either not present or didn't vote. And then here we have Stats for Lefties. It goes through some tweets name-dropping politicians that voted against removing the cap, that voted to keep the cap, but were like virtue signaling as though they want to fix child poverty by removing the cap. You know, like the dissonance there. That's not principally what I'm interested in. Ah, yes, great. New, a key labor advisor has said those with long-term illnesses should be forced into work in order to, quote, wean Britain off the easy solution of immigration. So they're so committed to being anti-immigration that they're saying we're going to put chronically sick people back to work just so we can crack down on immigration and have our economy not die. Never mind the fact that the economy's going to fucking tank anyways if you crack down on immigration as a fucking Western country. This is via the Times. Alan Milburn, an ally of Wes Streeting, which is the health secretary, called for conditions to be imposed on sickness benefits. So literally, the Labour Party in Britain is literally just indistinguishable from the Tories. I will be accepting apologies. There will be a, the link to the apology form in the description. That's a joke. Apologies are all open-ended. You can apologize to me in the form of a YouTube comment if you so wish. There is no form for that. But again, before anybody does that, I invite every Brit that defended Keir Starmer's Labour Party to suck my cock, because I do not value you or your opinion. And like, I don't know who you thought you were fooling, honest to God. It's just going to be more of this. The Labour Party has demonstrated that they are more willing to oust left-wing leadership than they are to embracing even moderate social democratic policymaking of like expanding the social safety net. They've demonstrated that they're like willing to just become the Tories, even when the Tories have blatantly destroyed the country. And Labour even use that as a talking point. They just they don't care. The Labour Party has been taken over by shiftless centrist grifters who have friends in the business world and who are ultimately just going to plunge the United Kingdom further into the hole. And honestly, unless the Liberal Democrats and the Greens become the major left-wing bloc in Britain, there isn't a way out of this. Britain's just gonna get fucked up. And I'm only able to take a modicum of pleasure in seeing all the Labour Party defenders immediately humiliated and disproven. Because like I know that their lives are gonna probably get worse too. Like if you're a loser enough to be pursuing people online over this shit, you probably don't have that much to your name. Like this is gonna be bad. Yeah, modern day Britain's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. Like the Labour Party was going around making concessions to business people, meeting with J.K. Rowling apropos of nothing, just to like say, hey, do you want to set our platform? The fuck? Like specifically with regards to trans people too. Superiority feeling starting to cost them their lives. EU. Yeah. They're just a declining. They're just a declining empire that has very little left in the way of relevance. And like what they have is tied to transphobia. They're kind of doomed to a death spiral ultimately. Like that's it. It's curtains for them. Really, it's just frustrating to see Brits be so in denial about the state of their own country, because holy shit, you guys are going down the toilet, economically speaking. And honestly, it's your own fault. Like, seriously. If any Brits are watching. Not you specifically, but like Britain is at fault for the economic state of Britain. Like the politicians and political interest groups and corporations and whatever, all the power brokers, the political power brokers and economic power brokers in Britain are at fault for the state of Britain right now. And no amount of austerity politics is going to fix that, because austerity politics is what made things in Britain so bad to begin with. Like, that's why the crisis exists. That is the crisis. You're not going to fix the crisis with more of the crisis. In fact, given the path that the Labour Party has been taking, I'm kind of expecting the Reform Party to gain ground next election. You know, assuming Labour keeps shutting out the left systematically, we're probably going to see a Reform UK like opposition government next election, or potentially a majority government uh next election, because like there's obviously not going to be a left-wing option. So what else is there? The insane right? You know, like, that's it. Leaving the EU, you should have attacked Ireland. It's shit on by the rest of Western Western world. Works for Russia. You easily deleted Ireland as a bonus. Nice meme. Honestly, I think that the correct choice of action there would have been to pursue a path of reconciliation with Ireland, which ultimately would have involved giving back Northern Ireland, and then reintegrating or further integrating with the EU, trying to rebuild unions in Britain, and like, well, again, inch further to the left. Like, this is a lot of this is informed by my ideological priorities of expanding democracy to encompass the economy, as well as, like, you know, having a politically democratic system. But, like, seriously, countries that decide to reject economic democracy and reject unions and reject, like, worker involvement, they're just doomed to fail. And, you know, a lot of that is all fine and good for big shareholders and corporate types, but like, everybody else gets fucking hung out to dry. The workers get hung out to dry, and that kills entire societies. You know, it truly is, the decision truly is between socialism or barbarism, and the UK chose barbarism. Sorry, you guys have to deal with the consequences of that now, and there's no you know, there's no going into denial about it at this point. Anyways, future me end the segment there. For all the British lefties out there, I do feel a profound sense of sympathy, because I know that a lot of leftists in Britain have been raising the fucking alarm bells like crazy about this. And it's just super unfortunate that, like, the you know, the Labour Party and the Tories, the two parties of the capital class, were so committed to not listening to them. Yeah, more Brits voted for Corbyn than Starmer, like I said earlier. Um, yeah. But actually, it was actually thanks to both the electoral system and thanks to the Reform Party being there. If the Reform Party wasn't an option on the ballot, Labour would have lost. They owe their victory to the Reform Party in this instance. The Labour Party does. What meager victory they had. Yeah, Conservatives would have... oh, no, wait. No. I don't think I agree. Conservatives would not have stayed home rather than vote for Reform. They would probably have voted Conservative, most likely, right? Just as a matter of ideological tendencies. If it, like, obviously we're not living in this world and this isn't terribly realistic, but if Reform wasn't nearly as prominent or competent in like campaigning, or if they just didn't exist at all, like, snap your fingers, there's no Reform Party, all the people that voted Reform would have been voting Conservative. Or at least a good number of them would, such that the Labour Party probably would have lost. You know, you look at the amount of votes that the Reform Party got, they got 14% of the popular vote. That would have been easily enough to put the Tories at, like, way more votes than Labour. Which is fucking embarrassing, given how much space the Labour Party had to maneuver.